Welcome to the Dang Good Show. Life as it is already tough. Why not make it a little more comfortable with some fun? Each episode, I will deliver straight facts to inspire positive change so you can live a dang good life. If you want to learn how to become more social and self-aware, or want to hear some great advice and life's adventure with a few laughs, this show is definitely for you. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm your host, C Dang, from beautiful British Columbia of Canada. You can catch me on Instagram at Christine_Dang or my website, c-dang.com. This is episode 004, and my guest for this episode is a DJ radio personnel and amateur chef from San Diego, California, who wants to leave a positive impression on the world through food, advice, and usefulness through tough topics and information. You can catch Eric on Instagram at kuya.eric. That's kuya, K-U-Y-A-A-A. That's 4A.Eric. On Twitter, you can catch him at Kuya's Corner and on fitzradio.com every Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. But most importantly, he has a purpose to help and teach people how to find themselves, hoping that they would pay it forward and help someone else. He believes that since we are given two hands, we could use to learn one hand to improve ourselves and the other to help other people. Without further ado, this is my guest, Eric. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Happy to be here.
How are you today?
I am wonderful. Not gonna lie, slightly hungover.
Yeah.
But it was a great time. We celebrated a lot last night.
And what did you guys celebrate? Now I gotta know.
We are celebrating my some of my accomplishments. So longtime friends. I'm opening a restaurant with two of my other friends, and that's a big deal to step out and do something on your own. I'm not saying that you don't have the necessary know-how to do something, but taking that big leap, letting Jesus take the wheel and say, let's go.
Yeah, I think the most courageous thing anyone can do is really stepping out of their comfort zone and just doing their own thing. And
Absolutely.
So kudos to you, because again, it's hard hearing a lot of people's chatter, hard hearing a lot of people saying what to do and what you should do. But the thing is, a lot of people are just telling you because they're putting themselves in your shoes. So they're telling you advice that they think is right. So most of the time it's not.
Right. Definitely. Yeah. It's canceling out the noise and staying true to yourself and not letting the begrudgments or opinions of other people steer you off the path that you're supposed to be on. And that's for me, that's something that I've been working on throughout the years, because I get super jazzed about something, like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. And then a few people will come in, if you do it this way, or if this happens, and it's just like, look, man, just let me be. I got this.
Yeah, just let me do my thing and just let me vibe it out, and let me learn. I think that's the biggest thing. Right. So now with this restaurant, I would like to know what you are gonna what kind of cuisine would it be, and what's the idea?
The restaurant's gonna be called Cultivated Greens. So our mission is to deliver comfort food to you, but vegan. So, all of that happy food that you like to eat, the fried chickens, jambalayas, for me, I'll be taking the helm at the Filipino cuisine. So we're going to be doing like tofu sisig, pancit bihon, it's chicken adobo, fried chicken adobo, actually.
But vegan?
Yes, but vegan.
Oh my God. So are you vegan yourself?
I personally dabble in it. I'm not, I have to eat meat. I'm sorry. But having that tool in your belt, being able to cook for somebody who's vegan or vegetarian or pescatarian, those are useful tools in the kitchen. And shout out to Preston, who was my former kitchen manager. He would challenge me in the kitchen every time. He goes, hey, I've got this recipe, or I've got, I want you to try to make this, but make it vegetarian or make it vegan. You can't use this, you can't use this, you can't use this. Make it taste good. And I'm just like, how am I supposed to make this without butter?
Yeah, that sounds really fun though. Definitely. It
is. And cooking was it became a slow passion of mine. When I started cooking, all of my dishes were terrible. My parents, they give me slack for it all the time, because when I go over there and I cook dinner, they're just like, man, you come a long way for making this stuff. Yeah. They're like, why didn't you just learn how to cook this before? Why didn't you? I'm just like, I don't know.
It took a lot of time and effort to get to where you are right right now, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, anyone who starts anything, terrible.
Yes.
It's just that your mindset, you're more open to be curious, to learn things
Right.
as time goes on and not bash yourself if things goes wrong. I think that's the most important thing.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I'm grateful for, for my dad, he like pounded it into my head when I was a kid. When I'm like set on something, it doesn't matter how many times I fail at it. Like for me, I just need that one time where it's great and I'm satisfied, but I will fail 1,000 times over and over and over, and I will get it. I'll do it until I get it right.
In my last, I had a guest that we talked about the value of time and hard work. And a lot of people always say, like, that person's born with it. That person is just naturally gifted, but that's not the case at all.
No, it's not. It's countless hours of trying and failing. That's like Bruce Lee had like this, I wouldn't say like this saying, I'd be more fearful of the person who's practiced one kick 1,000 times than the person who knows how to kick 1,000 different ways.
That's a good one. I'm definitely going to put that up somewhere. Now, this restaurant, is it something that's been on your mind for quite some time? I really like how you're, even though you're not vegan yourself, you are giving other vegans opportunities to taste Filipino cuisines with the flavors, but no meat. And Filipino dishes have a lot of meat. They have a lot of pork, lots of fats,
a lot of cholesterol.
Oh, yes. What are you using to replace meat?
We're going to be using Beyond Meat, jackfruit, oyster mushrooms. And there's a plethora of other ones that I'm going to, of other things that I'm going to be introduced to, because this is fairly new to me. Like I said, there's certain things that I can't use, like fish sauce. I can't use fish sauce. So I have to create my own fish sauce.
Oh, fish sauce is everything in Asian cuisine. Everything.
Right.
Yeah.
So having that, and then making my own version of it, that's going to be the exciting part, because I can still give you those flavors. I can still give you something that reminds you of it, but it's not it, and it's healthier for you, because I want to break that stigma with Filipino food being completely unhealthy for you or being completely devastating to your body. Because if it's one thing I like to do, is I like to eat.
I can tell you from experience, I went to a lot of Filipino families' dinners and gatherings, and every time I leave, my stomach is in tears, because I just could not handle all of the greasiness and the vinegar-based food.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's I'm learning to mold flavors and create new flavors that are reminiscent of in a traditional sense, but making sure it's healthy for you. I can make, like I said, the tofu sisig. You're supposed to use pork belly for that. I can create the same textures that you're used to, but healthier for you.
Ooh, okay. Now the next question is, when is this place gonna have open?
We're set to open next month. I want to say around the 8th or 9th of next month. It's all depending on when they do the inspections and everything like that. So, but we are going to have a tasting party. We're still deciding on when our tasting party is.
Yeah.
We're giving a chance for everybody to come and taste what we have. Like I said, my goal is, spreading cheer, spreading love. Cooking is one of those things that's like the purest form of love. That's the best way to show somebody you care about them. It's just like, hey, I know you've had a long day. Hey, I know you're feeling really crappy right now. Hey, I want to make sure that you feel good before you leave.
No, it's true.
I have this joke that I used to run in the kitchen. I call it the first bite glance.
What is this?
So when you cook something, you watch somebody take that first bite. For me, that determines how good of a job. And every time a dish would go out, especially if somebody took their time on it, you would see them kind of poke their head.
Yeah.
Kind of peek in the window to see, all right, are they going to like it? Do they like it? They love it. And it's just, you go back and you create more dishes. And one of the greatest feelings in the world to me is I made this for somebody and they're enjoying it. So it's the more extreme version of that is just like when I'm trying to rally the people in the kitchen. It's just like, today we're dealing in culinary orgasms, guys. This is what we're doing. You got to make sure that all of your dishes that go out don't die in the window. Got to make sure that all of your dishes have 100% of you in it. at all.
Yeah, I love that. You're right. Food does feed the soul, and that's something that I always tell people. So whenever someone takes the time to cook for me,
Mm,
I know that it's coming from the purest form of love, as you said. And
mm,
it's that first bite and that look. I know exactly what you're talking about because every time I have people coming over and I
mm.
had something marinated for a day and I know this is gonna taste so good. And when
That's
they
it.
had that first bite, yeah, it's definitely worth all the effort and the time and the tears and the sweats that you put into
Exactly.
that food.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Watch it. You said they sit there, take the first bite, watch their eyes roll in the back of their head. Mm,
Yeah.
yes, my job is done.
Nice. If you guys are extra curious and want to learn more about Eric and what's coming up for him, I'll definitely make sure I'll leave a link below underneath the episode's note on thedangoodshow.com. So that way you can be in the loop of what Eric is up to. Now, okay, what's the decor?
So right now, this is where we're actually doing something called a cloud kitchen. So cloud kitchen is basically a giant food hub that that allows you to focus solely on cooking. There's no customer interface.
Mm.
So the end goal is for us to have our brick and mortar, food truck. Those are the end goals. But right now, we're starting small. Gotta get the building blocks down.
Nice. Okay, so that's a different concept. So you're just going to be, so it's like a takeout thing. Is that
Yes,
how it's going to
right
work?
now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right now. So, and not to say that that businesses that have customer interfaces anything bad. It's just like for me, I worked, in restaurants, I want to say both sides, front of house and back of house for a little over 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And doing the customer service thing. Hi, how are you? Would you like to try this today? Interest you in this? Would you like to see our specials today? I kind of get tired of that. It's very draining. It doesn't leave me time to focus on the cooking, which is what, in any amateur chef's mind, the idea is to just focus on the cooking.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be the Michelin style where it's yes, chef, no chef. I need vegetables. I need to know.
Free flowing.
Right. It's free flowing. We see the order, we get it, we cook it, press clear, it goes out. That's it.
Nice. Food does speak for itself. And of course, socializing with customers is also a way to connect with them as well, too.
Right.
So I'm definitely looking forward to see how you guys do with this. The great thing about this world with social media in this digital age is that we can do a lot to make it a little bit more interesting to connect with customers.
Absolutely.
What's the one thing that you're super excited about?
Like I'm ready to go. I'm ready to put into action everything that I've been practicing for the last 10 years.
Nice.
So
Dude, I'm excited. I can't wait when this whole COVID thing is over. Head down to San Diego, try out your food. I think we have to do that. Have to do this. We actually met through Instagram for the listeners here. It's nice because he would leave comments on my videos. If you guys follow me on Instagram, I try to be as silly as I can, even though my topics that I talk about, which is like self and social awareness, is kind of serious, but it doesn't need to be serious. So I make a fool out of myself and vulnerability. Yeah, exactly. I do that only because I think a lot of people take life too seriously, and they don't realize that life is supposed to be simple and you're supposed to have fun with it. But us humans, we like to make ourselves stressed, anxious, depressed by overthinking our thoughts. And that's why I think I love where we're at right now this timeline. I mean, not 2020, but I mean, like, it's for the fact that a lot of people are talking about vulnerability, and they're expressing themselves a lot more. They're expressing themselves in a way that's to say that you're not alone, because I'm going through this too. And I love that, because I think during our parents' age, no one knows what you're thinking. They think that you made it because you put so much work, but it's different. There's a lot of vulnerability involved for you to be successful.
Absolutely. So I mean, it, like you said, like our parents, they're different generation. They would kind of say, if your feelings are hurt, rub some dirt in it. It's okay. Like you're gonna be fine. You're gonna live.
Yeah.
And some of it, yes, some of it, no. Like I've had discussions with my parents, now that I'm older. Like I had one with my dad, because he was just like, I don't understand why you guys just don't tell us this stuff before it happens or while it's happening. And I was just like, you know what? My stepmom, she's a little bit better listener than my dad. I was just like, you're a terrible listener. Sometimes we don't want you to like fix the problem. We just want you to say, hey, look, you're you're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Like, we just want to know you got our back emotionally.
Yeah. Your problem could be different from their problem.
It's so, especially now with the with COVID happening, and like you said, it's us having to be vulnerable. And I think that's different for everybody, because now you have those people who have that great poker face that they can't use it anymore. And it's just like, dang, I had to sit here and actually address this.
Yeah.
I have to, like, it's being, having that honest moment with yourself and saying, and realizing certain things and realizing certain truths. And it can be good or bad for some people, because some people, they don't have that emotional intelligence or the emotional wherewithal to deal with that, especially in this spectrum right now that we're in. It's tough.
Yeah,
like,
it is.
I have to sit with myself. I can't unload this on all of my friends in some kind of frantic manner. Like,
No, it's tough. And my heart goes out to people who does reach out to me on Instagram, and the first thing I do is I thank them. I thank them for taking the courage to telling a complete stranger about what they're going through, and asking for help. I think, again, it takes a lot of guts for anyone to do that, because people think that, I don't want to bother that person. I don't want to bother that person. But I'm very, I do look at my messages all the time, unless it's messages from, creepers asking for my number or want to be my sugar daddy. I completely ignore that. So I'm just going to put that on record. Okay. You're going to ask me, and I'm going to decline, delete everything. If it's a pickup, I'm sorry, but I'm taken. So yeah. So sometimes the problem is there's no connection with a lot of people. There's disconnect with themselves. And I think, again, the most courageous thing is for you to look inside and deal with your problems and shit. It takes a lot of time and effort.
Do the inner work.
So, like, for me, I started meditating in 2017, and I keep on telling people how much it changed my life. I never could usually sit down for 1 minute by myself. There's so much shit going on in there. And so I told myself, okay, I'm going to try this Headspace app. I'm going to do 3 minutes a day. At the end of the week, I'm going to see what the difference is. After that week, I was like, oh shit, I'm going to do another week for 3 minutes. And I did it again. And I was like, huge improvement. And then, I'm like, okay, the 2-week trial is done. I'm going to pay for this for 1 month. And it just kept on going to 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, and went from 3 minutes. Now I can do 20 minutes on my own.
Difficult. Yeah, it is. It's difficult for some people to sit still in their mind. I started meditating, what was it? I want to say I started getting serious about it in 2018, 2019, learning to sit down, doing like mindfulness exercises. I was depressed. I was definitely depressed, but my coping mechanisms was I would throw myself into work. I'd work out. And I would DJ. So, that kind of put me in a space to where I'm still moving and I'm not
at a standstill thinking.
Yeah. Right. So, when I started doing that, I watched a tree in my neighbor's backyard grow all year long for 30 minutes every day. And I'd leave my phone, I'd have my glass of water, and I would sit there and just be still. And then, I would get sad when the leaves would start to fall off. I'm just like, bro, like, what happened? No.
There's a quote, I won't remember it, so I'm just gonna say it. It's where it's saying, like, I love the fall because when fall comes, it teaches us that change is.
I'm not sure I understand.
Okay, so that's Suri thinking that I'm talking to her. Okay, that's gonna be cut out. So basically, like, every fall when the leaves turns over, it falls and dies or whatever, it just kind of teaches us that it doesn't matter what your life is, you're never stuck in that moment. It will always change. And when change does happen and spring comes along, it's like a new beginning of it.
Right. Change is inevitable. It's going to happen.
I think if you're resisting change, your life is at a standstill. You will forever fight.
And it's like I've learned through my through my experiences, like you said, being resistant to change. Change is inevitable. Change is going to happen. Either you allow change to happen or you have change forced upon you. And when change forces itself upon you, it's going to break you down to the lowest level that you can get to, and you have to start from there.
Yes.
Instead of you saying, all right, well, maybe I should change this a little bit, and you're starting, not having to start over completely from scratch.
Yeah. See, I don't recommend this for everyone, but I know that when you're always dealing with change consistently, you learn to adapt to situations so much quicker. So I put myself in a lot of awkward situations, taught myself that, it doesn't matter where you are, when you adapt to change, it's just a lot easier on your mind and your heart and your soul, because you're going with the flow. It just teaches you that.
Right. That's like one of my life goals is to master the flow of things. I don't know if anybody here is into astrology. I'm a Pisces. So, naturally going with the flow is one of those things that we do. There are times where I will purposely swim against the flow of things and then kind of just be like, all right, well, I've struggled enough. This is as far as I can go. Time to just let it happen.
Yeah.
Just let things happen. And that's the biggest thing that I've learned this year thus far, is learning when to let go of the control that I think I have. And it sucks because you're just like, you just keep fucking pushing, and you're just like, I'm gonna, it's like putting, the square in the round peg hole the entire time. And it's just like, this isn't working, and I don't know what else to do. And in that moment, I've learned where you're almost at the point of exhaustion or desperation, or you want to quit. That's when you're the closest. And that's where you have to, like I said, at that point, you've invested all this time, this energy, this work, blood, sweat, and tears, anger, and all of these, the cornucopia of emotions that you feel during the time, but you still have it in your mind and in your heart that I'm going to succeed at this, or this is going to come into my life. The moment you let go from there, things start to happen, which is kind of crazy. I've watched it happen.
Yeah.
Countless times after time where I'm just like, I'm so fed up with this right now. I'm just going to leave this here on the table. As soon as it's out of sight and out of mind, it pops up in front of me. And it's just like, hey, here you go. This is what you're working for. This is it. And you're just like, why didn't you just do this when I was there? I haven't thought about you for like 2-3 weeks now.
Yeah, that's funny, because when I go through the same process, in my head, I'm just like, okay, what they're telling me is that we wanted you to feel all that feeling, so that way when you get to the top, you understand that this is going to happen again. Right.
Learning how to deal with it. So, so setting yourself up for success. And it's frustrating, but it's great at the same time, because then when it does happen, you're just like, oh, I see all of this. All of this. And you're just like, okay, I know how to move now. I know how to do this. I know when to feel this. I know how, and it gets easier when you find yourself in these situations. And like you said, when you are at these moments where you're frustrated or something, you know when to quiet your mind, you know when to take that deep breath, you know when to stop moving and when to move.
Yeah, exactly. It's don't resist change. It's gonna happen. Don't fight something. It's gonna happen. Just learn to let it go, basically, if you want peace for yourself. And not stress yourself out, because most of the time, all the stress, all those thoughts, it's what we made for ourselves. So therefore, I think once you start learning the power of like mindfulness and why meditation, by research and by so many different professionals been recommending it, 8 minutes minimum per day. That's it. That will change your life. Just 8 minutes. But if you want something more spectacular, half an hour, which I'm still getting into. And it's been like almost 3 years to build up to 20 minutes.
I do about 45 minutes.
Amazing.
I'm learning the different hand gestures to go with each chakra, which is cool.
Nice. I'm not there yet.
When you get there, stand up and where you're like finished, everything's just like, you're just like, oh, I feel better.
Nice.
And it's, I try to do it at least 45 minutes is pretty exhausting.
It's quite a bit. It is for the mind. Yeah, for sure. Now, for those who are entering mindfulness. Again, every practice is completely different. So when is a good time for you to do it in the day, and why?
When I'm waking up, because it's like I don't have anything pressing to do right then and there. Usually when I get up in the morning, it's just like, all right, some people, they go and drink coffee. Some people, they read the newspaper. I do my mindfulness exercises in two parts. So I get up, I drink my water, all my electronics are off.
Yeah.
I find, you have to make a quiet space for yourself. Find a quiet space for yourself. Mine's on my porch, sun's out, and I just inhale the day basically. Then I go do my regimen, shit, shower, shave, and then now on my way to start my day, I do what's called walking meditation. It's almost like, for me, it's in that time, in that space where I'm walking to my car, I do my affirmation. I tell myself, today's going to be a great day.
Yeah.
You're going to help somebody. You're going to make somebody feel good. You're going to make yourself feel good. You're going, you're going to do something great.
Nice. Every day you do that?
Every day.
That's amazing. Nice.
For some people, they don't understand. They're just, my best friend on one of our drunken nights, it got to that point where you're drunk and you're just like, you want to know what I like about you? He told me, he was just like, you're extremely confident in every action that you take. It's just like, I've been trying to learn how to do that. How do you do that? And I honestly don't think I'm confident in any action that I take. You think it's instant. No, I have to think. It takes me about 15 to 20 minutes to come to a decision, especially if I need to do it right now. It's one of those things for me, when I make a decision, I usually stand firm on it. I don't go back on it. I'm just like, I'm here now. I got to do it. I made this decision. That's it.
Nice. I had to do meditation right in the morning, but right when I wake up, because if I say, okay, I'm going to do it later, that's not going to happen, because you're going to forget. It's a form of habit. So right in the morning, before I start anything, I take care of my mind, and then I take care of my body. So either I go work out or do yoga, and then I start my day. Again, I think whatever habits you have daily, it's a future prediction of what you're going to be in the future. Like what you hear so far? Make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button right now. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you so much for your support. On Instagram, follow me at Christine_Dang, where I share aha moments and a few laughs. And lastly, if you want to find out more information about the show, visit thedangoodshow.com. Let's get back to the show. Very, very important. All right, hold up. Yeah, okay, I have something I want to ask you. You had this radio show called Ask Kuya.
I do. Yes.
Dude, that's pretty dope. Can you tell me more about that?
So Ask Kuya is a segment on my radio show that I do about twice a week. I poll on like Twitter or Instagram, and I say, this is a segment. If you have any questions, they're going to be anonymous. I'm not going to put anybody's business out there. And they ask for advice or suggestions or, my take on something or anything that they, a curious mind would want to know.
Nice. Do you have any questions that were like your most favorite that you got?
One of the questions that I got, that was my favorite question, was how I felt. It's about basically people adopting cultures. Asked me how I felt about it, because the other people are like, oh, they're culture vultures, they're this, they're that, and
Hold up, what's a culture vulture? I never heard of that before.
Is people profit or that embody the culture just to make gains off of it. They're not there, they're not supporting the culture, they're not doing anything to give back to the culture, basically.
Oh, so like they're just acting it, but they're not really giving back, or they're not proud of it. It's just for them to be cool. Cool,
right, to be accepted.
Okay.
So he asked me how I felt about it. Cultural appropriation, that's what it's called. So basically, for me, I was just like, look, you have people that are out there that have soul, that, me, I'm Filipino and Black. Of course, I'm embodying two cultures right there that parallel each other in more than one ways. And I told him, I'm like, hey, like if that's what you want to do, but just make sure you're not, if you like Black culture so much, don't be Black when it's convenient.
Oh, yes.
Chris Rock said it. Everybody wants to be Black, but nobody wants to be Black. So, getting pulled over by the police, having to deal with interracial relationships and stuff like that. It's just like, all right, cool. Like, I'll listen to rap music. I'll glorify everything that are the positives about this. But I don't have to deal with this on a daily basis like you do. So this is great.
Yeah. So basically just embodying the positive aspects of it, but not taking in the accountability of like dealing with shit from other people, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that was one of my favorite questions. But I just told him if you got soul, that's great. We need more people like that. But at the same time, you're in that moment. I don't want to deal with this. No, sir. No, it's not me.
Be the bigger person and deal with it.
Right.
What other questions do you have?
The other questions, some of them were for relationship advice. The majority of them actually are for relationship advice. Like one of them was, my favorite one was, he says, help. He's just like, I think I got my side girl pregnant, or my side chick pregnant. I was just like, bro, how do you get yourself in these situations? Like, why?
I think of Usher's song right away.
Right. That's what I told him. I was just like, you better do the right thing. Don't think Usher vibes. Tell her. You got to tell her, because one way or another, she's going to find out.
Yeah.
She's going to find out. And whether that's, one, you shouldn't be having unprotected sex. Two, you shouldn't have put your girlfriend of however many years in this position. Yeah. I was just like, that's kind of unfair to her, because you wanted to be selfish.
Yeah. So, straight up.
It's a lose-lose for you in this situation. And if you can't man up and say, hey, I fucked up, this is what I did, I have to tell you this. And I was just like, she's probably going to leave, bro.
Yeah.
Probably going to leave.
I think it's interesting with cheating, because people always talk about it. They're like, sometimes the reason why people cheat is because they were missing something in the relationship. It's usually attention and not getting enough love from the partner.
Right.
It gets tougher when you cheat and then someone finds out. It makes everything even worse.
Worse, right.
Having that first hard conversation saying, yo, you're not making me feel good. This relationship, I don't think it's working out. I fear that I might be doing something bad, so I think it's best for us to end it now. Obviously, that's tough.
Right. That is a tough conversation, but also it comes with learning. That it's just like, how is this relationship? If there is a next relationship, how is that going to? What did you learn about yourself? And how are you going to make? One, how are you going to rectify the situation? And two, how are you going to make sure that this doesn't happen again? Like you said, people aren't as upfront with their feelings as they should be, because it's like, I don't want to burden this person with my feelings. This person's not going to listen to me. Why should I convey my feelings to this person when I could just go out and do this and get satisfied somewhere else? Like I said, for me, it took me a while to have those kinds of honest conversations with myself. And because I've been on both sides, I've cheated, I've been cheated on, but at the same time, it's just like, it didn't make me feel any better when I could have just said, hey, this is what we got to work on. Yeah. You're important to me. And, this relationship is important to me, but,
it takes a lot of, practice makes perfect. You had to be in the situation or someone that is dealing with it to understand the whole thing. And I think that's why it's so important for anyone to really dig deep with the whole emotional intelligence awareness kind of deal. If you learn about that, you get to recognize situations and predict the future. It's honestly a superhuman power that I honestly believe, because out of all the books I read, you can really predict a lot of things. Like, even if I'm talking to a random stranger on the street, I can tell right away who this person is and what their motives are. Like, is it going to be to harm me or to take advantage of me? You can tell right away. And that's the beauty of learning self-awareness, social awareness, and the whole emotional intelligence thing.
I've actually had a girl break up with me because of that.
Oh, snap.
She said it's unfair that you're able to read in between the lines with me and you don't allow me to feel my emotions. That's not fair. I'm just like, but wait, so can I fix the problem before there is a problem? Or do you want there to be a problem so there can be a problem so I can fix it? Yeah.
It's like Inception.
Right.
Yeah.
So she said it wasn't fair. I was just like, okay, that's what you want.
People have different perspective, and it's just learning to recognize that that's hard to any social situation, I think. And especially for people who are more feely like me, and I think you're probably the same way. It's like, when you're more emotional and you're more in tune with people, you can really feel it. It took me a long time to not, how do you say it? So say, for example, if I'm hanging out with someone and they had the worst worse luck. You know, a lot of depression, a lot of anger, a lot of like lots of negativity. And, you know, trying to be a good friend, you listen to it, but you kind of absorb all that energy and everything. And by the time I get home, I'm like not happy-go-lucky anymore. And the next next week, I'm just like, why am I so depressed? But really, it's because I should have took it in a break. I should have just, you know what, that's cool. And then let it go. Like I didn't let that go. I think I just let their emotion pass on to me, and then I just kind of kept it and let it boil a little bit and not understanding why. So now that I recognize that, I can now break free of that thought and get out of that situation and be like me again in the next few hours.
Right.
Yeah. So how would you deal with that?
Dealing with other people's emotions is tough. Usually what I do now, especially like when I'm in a relationship, and it took me forever to try and learn this. And my dad, he actually explained this to me. He goes, you know, a lot of the time you're there for people even when they don't need you to be there. And it's just like, he's just like, that can be a problem. So what I've learned to do in his marriage, he says, you know, whenever my stepmom comes with a begrudgment or something, or some kind of qualm, he goes, all right, do you need me to listen or do you need me to fix it? And now I do that with a lot of people. I say, do you need me to listen or do you need me to fix it? And so that's great advice. So now in my mind, I know which to do, which to switch to. And it's just like, okay, like because immediately, like he says, I'm ready to take action. Yeah. If somebody comes to me with a problem, it's just like, man, I got this. All right, what are we doing? Like, how are we going to do this? Like, let's go. Let's handle this. Now it's just like, okay, I can sit back. You just need somebody to vent to, and it's opening a channel within yourself to allow it to pass through you without you absorbing it. And it's tough because it's just like you want to empathize with this person, you want to do that, but you're capable of doing all of that without holding on to whatever energy that they're laying on to. Let's
go a little bit deeper so that way people can understand the different what your dad's saying. So you know, do you want me to listen or do you want me to help? Now that's really good, only because a lot of the times when people are telling you the problems, they don't want advice. they want to vent. Yeah, right. Right. They just want to let it go so that way they can move on and live a better life. But there's other people who wants advice, but they don't know how to ask it. So, and then the person they're telling to couldn't recognize the signal. So I think that's great that if anyone's listening and if someone is venting to you, do ask them, like, do you want me to listen to you? I would love to listen. And then that way you can hear yourself. You can probably solve your own problem, because most of the time when we're thinking our thoughts, we can't see the problem. We're just saying, we're stuck in it. But when we're saying it out loud, we can hear what we're saying. So therefore we're looking at the problem. It's different. Right. And then another thing is that, you know, or do you want my advice? I'll listen to you, but are you going to be okay with me giving you 100% feedback? Right. So unbiased opinion. And this is something I offer to each and every one that I've worked with, is that I'm just going to let you know, if you're asking for advice, I'm open to give you unbiased opinion. So that way, you know, I'm not judgy. It's creating a circle of safety. So that way people can share openly with me.
And so, yeah, it took me a while for me to actually put that into practice, because like I said, I'm used to, it's just like, you need my shirt off my back, I got you. Like, and you know, I wouldn't have enough for myself. And like I said, that's where that terminology comes from. It's just like, I can't give you both my hands. And because then I have nothing for myself. Yeah. So I can give you a hand, you know, I can give you a hand up. I can give you, you know, I can lend a helping hand, but I'm not going to give you a handout. Handout, you need two hands for that. I can't do that.
Yeah, again, it depends on the person. And this is something I've always spoke to some people when they said that they're in a relationship and all they've been doing is give, and they didn't get anything back. I've been through that before. I've been that person, and I know how much it sucks, and you probably do too. It's fucking draining. It really draining. So this is a trick from a psychologist that was like basically studied about relationship and marriage and how it works and how to keep it. Oh my gosh. gosh, I have biggest brain fart. I can't remember his name. He talks about the 5 language of love.
Oh, Gary Chapman. That's what it's
Gary Chapman. Okay, so Gary Chapman talks about like the 5 language of love, and he put this in a very beautiful way, the most simple way to understand why you feel so drained and why you need to reinvest and give yourself self-love. Okay, so picture a little love tank. Every one of us have a little love tank. When we take care of ourselves, whether it's meditating, eating nutritious food, exercising, basically taking care of yourself and pampering yourself, you fill up that love tank, right? And when we give it to people, we give, that love tank depletes. Now, a majority of the time, especially in my last relationship, I depleted that tank in -1,000, basically.
Right.
I was expecting it from someone else to give it to me, which is also, you know, a way for your love tank to fill, but I didn't get that.
Right.
And I wasn't giving love to myself at all. So that love tank, no wonder I was depressed. I was in such a dark place. And when I started meditating, that was when I realized, I'm like, and then I read about that love tank thing, and I'm like, it makes so much sense. So when anyone talks about relationship or giving too much, or they just feel so drained, I'm like, how's your love tank? And then I explain about what the love tank is, and they're like, oh my God. So this advice from Dr. Chapman is just like such a small thing for you to imagine this little love tank, but like it goes a long way. So now when I'm feeling depleted, I recognize it right away, and especially the feeling like, oh, I'm so tired, I wonder why. Then I'll fill up my love tank. I'll watch a Marvel movie, watch something that makes me happy, basically brings me joy, taking care of myself. So I think for anyone out there, if you're feeling depleted, that means you're not taking care of yourself.
Right.
Straight up.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And it's finding what mine was difficult, because it's just like I like all of these, but which ones do which one do I identify with the most? And mine's acts of service and quality time. And so and I find myself, like I said, in relationships, you know, there was this girl that I was dating recently. It got to that point to where I was depleted, and it was just like I gave, and when I got tired, I gave some more. And it can be overwhelming for both parties, because it's just like, I don't know how to respond to this. And it's just like, you know, you're just like pelting them with all of this affection and love, and it's just like, take it now.
When we deplete our little love tank, it just means that we start more arguments, more conflicts, and lots of resistance with anything, really. It makes life harder. That's when you know that your love tank is depleted. When you're arguing with that person so much and things are not eye to eye, it's because both y'all don't have your love tank filled up. So how you treat yourself is an example of what others can treat you. So if you're treating yourself like crap, guess what, buddy?
They're going to treat you like crap.
So amen to that.
So it's be mindful of your self-care. You know, do something for yourself every so often. Do something to say, you know what, good job.
Be kind, be nice, show compassion.
Exactly. That's what I do to my friends whenever they have like a moment, and they're just like, and they start talking about themselves, and I'm just like, hey, be nice to yourself. And they're just like, what do you mean? This was stupid. I was just like, nothing about you is stupid. So don't say you're stupid. You're not stupid.
It's hard. I've definitely been really hard on myself, where I had this quote that I wrote down. It's like, would you say this to your friend? Whatever I'm thinking, I would say it out loud, because sometimes it's ridiculous. In your head, for some reason, it doesn't sound ridiculous, but when you say it out loud, you're like, holy crap, that's a dick move. I would never say this to a friend. So why would you say it to yourself? The relationship with yourself is the most important relationship. And you're supposed to give yourself joy, if anything, and you're supposed to be the cheerleader. Don't bash yourself at all. And that's something I'm still learning. But like, I can say now that I do love myself more than I did ever, really, at this point.
Definitely for me, same thing. A few years ago, I was not compassionate to myself. I was not very nice to myself. I was frustrated all the time, and I just kept getting even more frustrated. And then I stopped, like I said, I stopped being so hard on myself. I stopped being aggressive with my thoughts. I stopped being aggressive with my body. I stopped being aggressive with my energy, and it's just like, okay, bring it down.
Did you feel like a huge weight got lifted off your shoulders?
Absolutely.
Like, but as time goes on, you start being more like forgiving and more loving, and you just feel so much lighter.
Absolutely.
For me, it did.
Yes, absolutely. So like I said, it's learning when to be nice to yourself, and it's one thing if you make a mistake. You have to be okay with that. It's part of the learning process. And for me, it was what taught me that was DJing. For me, it's just like when I find something that I like to do, I want to be the best at it immediately. I want to, like I said, I'm relentless in my pursuit of whatever it is that I find fascinating. DJing for me to be somewhat presentable, for me to be out playing gigs or anything like that. I didn't have my first gig until like 2 years after I started DJing.
Oh, wow. So what did you do before that to get out there?
Practice, networking, going to shows, talking to other DJs, absorbing as much knowledge as I could. It's like I tell my niece, she's going to be an entrepreneur for sure.
How old is this niece?
She's 12. So
oh my gosh.
she's got all of these ideas. She's super creative. And when she sets her mind, her heart, and her grind on something, she gets it done. And I'm just like,
oh,
you are
good parents.
Dangerous when you're older. Yeah. Like I tried to apply, same thing for me. It's just like when I want to do something, I'm not gonna let somebody stop me. It's just like you're either on this side of the fence or you're in my way. I gotta go.
Yeah. So be supportive. Don't block me. I'm gonna keep on pushing forward anyways.
If you're not with the crew, you're just move out the way.
Yeah. Yeah. So speaking of crews, we spoke briefly last time just to prepare for this interview, and we kind of touched on Black Lives Matter. Now, the thing is, being Canada, born in Vancouver, I don't have a lot of Black friends. Like my boyfriend, he's African American and Trinidadian. So I've learned a lot from him, and there's a lot of things where I'm just like, what? That happened? Like for example, renting a place is hard if you're Black. And I'm just so shocked because I'm there on the application form, it'll ask like what nationality you are. I'm like, what? I never heard of that before because we don't have that here in Vancouver. And so it's so interesting to see. Like I already knew how bad it was because I do love watching documentaries and hearing about it, but just hearing it firsthand. And right now, I mean, what's happening in America, the whole world is watching. So you're half Filipino, half Black. I can't imagine how hard that is because for me, it's like, I look white, but I'm Vietnamese. So my white friends think I'm really Asian, but my Vietnamese friends think I'm too whitewashed. So it's just like, it's different. So how do you in America deal with that? Like, I think it's more harsh, if anything.
It is. Dealing with that in America, there's a lot of things that I try to make sure, that I don't do on a daily basis. I try not to aggravate anybody. I try to stay away from big crowds. It's, growing up for me, it was one of those things where I wasn't enough of one or the other. So it created like a little identity crisis. So, when my mom brought her friends around me, they turned their nose up at me. They're like, oh, you're not Filipino enough. You're the wrong kind of mixed kids.
Oh, really?
It's they're of course they're being subtle with it, but they would parade around their mixed children. My child's half white, basically, and you get used to it after a while. I would just tell my mom, I don't want to be around your friends. I'm gonna be over here. So
my heart's pounding because of I don't get angry easy, but I guess I'm feeling this. Like, I'm sorry you had to go through that.
But I mean, even on the Black side, it's just like, hey, like, oh, you think you're too good because you got that good hair. You're not really, you're not that Black, so you don't understand. It's one of those things where you're just like, hey, look, like, I've got the best of both worlds. Like, I have fried chicken and chicken adobo. Like, you're missing out. Like, there are things that I've had to do daily. Like if I see people that are not even just with the COVID thing, people cross the street because they want to maintain social distancing. But for me, I cross the street for safety. If I see a group of people walking, or I cross the street because I don't want them to feel threatened. I have tattoos, or this guy that looks Black that's walking across the street, immediately this is a call for danger. So I've adopted crossing the street. I stay away from big crowds. If I'm walking behind somebody and I'm walking to my car, I jingle my keys so they know I'm there, so they don't turn around and say, oh,
so it's not surprise.
What are you doing there?
Yeah.
Like I posted this on Instagram a while ago when the George Floyd happened, and
Yeah.
my dad had to have this conversation with me and my sister. I'm 6 years old. My sister's 11 going on 12 years. 6 years old. He had to have this conversation with me. He tells me, he's just like, there's going to be people in the world that are going to make life difficult for you just solely based on the color of your skin. It's just like, there are going to be situations that I can't protect you from. My job is to give you a fighting chance so you can come home.
No, my heart.
So it's, my dad was a retired police officer, Harbor Police, 28 years.
Wow.
And it's just like, just because I wear this uniform like everybody else, but not everybody thinks and feels the way that I do. So it's important that, I give you a fighting chance, and so you can keep your head on the swivel, so you have situational awareness, so you are keen to spot when to get out of trouble, when to leave a certain situation, so you're not put in a situation to where I can't see you again.
Yeah. No, that's that. So just to refresh, and for a lot of people who were listening and they're kind of confused. So Eric is half Filipino, half African American, and his father is Black, his mom is Filipino, just to put it out there. Now, how I grew up with all immigrants, by the way, and a lot of First Nation, which is Indian First Nations. And I grew up around, I think it's all normal. Quite honestly, there's no me versus him. It was just a big community. My best friend was from Guatemala, and I had another best friend from Korea, and another one who was like, born on the Indian Reserve, and I learned a lot about their culture. And the most surprising thing is that when I got to high school, my friend went to her Latino group, and then everyone else split. I had no friends anymore. It was just so crazy. So and then that's when I had to put myself in an Asian crew. Bless you. I was that one friend who's friends with everyone.
Right.
I was that one person who's in different groups. I don't stick to one group long enough, but it's because I like to be surrounded by different cultures, to be well-rounded. If that makes sense.
To have a healthy view on things, for sure. I was the same way. And even the people that didn't want to get to know me, they still knew who I was.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things in life, if and when I have children, I don't want to have that conversation with them.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that I'm not looking forward to.
Yeah.
Being a parent.
Yeah.
It's just like, what? They find out you're Black, and life is going to be difficult for you.
No, because not everyone's born racist.
Right.
It's taught to them.
Right.
Parents today, either they're spoiling their kids or they're not letting them be vulnerable. I think that's the most important thing, and also being open about vulnerability as well. I was reading, there's a couple of books that I've been reading, and it just talks about parenting and also leadership skills, but it's all a matter of letting people see that, you do run into problems too, and letting them see how you deal with it. It's leading by example. So, I mean, if you're like, for what I hear from you, I think you can be, a great uncle, great dad, because you're living the life that you want, and there's integrity intact. You're a good person, basically. And I think that's where people learn from. And when people see that positive light, they want to duplicate it for themselves. So I always push the whole, lead by example. If you don't like a certain situation being dealt with, then what do you want changed? If that's the change you want, then you act it, like be that person. Don't just say it and just kind of like wish upon it and then complain about it. That's my biggest pet peeve. If you're not doing it yourself, then you have no right telling other people what to do. 100%. So I remember, so in our other conversation, you did talk about like how, your best friend is also named Eric, but he's white Eric, and you're Black Eric.
The microaggressions lasted for a while, and and I would calmly speak up about it. I didn't get aggressive or anything like that. But there's one day that I just got tired of it. Like, I'm just like, bro, like, my name is Eric, not Black Eric. My name isn't anything else. It's like, there's two Erics here. You can call me EJ, you can call him Eric. I was just like, then we'll know who's talking to who. But I was just like, don't call him white boy anymore. Don't call me Black, don't call me Black Eric anymore. Just enough. And it stuck for 2 years, and then finally I was just like, I can't deal with this anymore. Like, please stop calling me. Just don't do it.
But that's how people are.
It is, but it's just like it's being willfully ignorant about some of the stuff that's out there. You like enjoying the culture, but you don't, you're not doing anything to absorb the knowledge of the culture. Everybody likes to go out and eat pho, but nobody wants to learn how did pho come to be.
Yeah. I like your pronunciation, by the way. You said it correctly. When people say pho and it's like people randomly on the street, I was talking about this to my last guest. I was like, if it's a white person, black person, doesn't matter who you are. Even if you're Vietnamese, you're saying pho. I'll be like, yo, homie, it's pho. And they're like, what do you mean? How's it pho? Because it's spelled PHO, and at the end O, there's a question mark. So therefore, it sounds like asking a question. Pho. So if you people are saying pho to be your friends, they will get really impressed, actually, saying it properly.
I hung out, in high school. The Asian crew. There was that, my honorary Vietnamese name was Mi Dang.
Which is black and Vietnamese.
So that was because everybody had Vietnamese names. I was just like, where's mine?
That's really funny.
So, but I mean, like I said, certain instances, yes, I could deal with that. It's but even then, after a while, they stopped calling me Mi Dang. They just said, you know what, just deal with Eric. And I was just like, dang, all right, man.
That's not the case for me in Vietnam. When I went to see my parents in Vietnam, they're getting older, and being in Vietnam, people think I'm white. So in Vietnamese, they'll say, oh, look at that white girl trying to speak Vietnamese. And I'm like saying in Vietnamese, like, please listen to me. I am Vietnamese, but they won't take it. They'll like look at me, tell them in Vietnamese. I'm like, no, I speak Vietnamese. I am Vietnamese. Everything you're saying, I understand. So please speak to me. But they would not. There was this one vendor, because she saw me for a month straight after. And she's like, oh, so you're Vietnamese. I was like, I've been trying to tell you that, woman. I've been trying to tell you that from day one. I usually laugh it off. I try not to hold a grudge against it. Right. But I think making a joke out of things like that makes the situation funnier and better storytelling. For
Absolutely.
But is there anything you would like people to know about you that we haven't talked about yet? I'm
open to making new friends. If you need somebody to listen, I'm here. I'm definitely here to listen to you.
I'm going to definitely leave Eric's link in the episode's note below. Thank you so much, Eric. Please let people know where they can find you so they can hear it one last time.
So every Friday from 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I have my show, Kuya's Corner. We tackle tough subjects and, showcase different artists. Information that I can give. The last show that we had a financial advisor, so he kind of gave us tips and tricks about how to make your money work for you. We talk about tough subjects like, the episode before that one was domestic violence and what you can do to kind of help yourself to get out of those situations. Instagram, find me on Instagram, Kuya Eric, kuya.eric. That's with 4 A's, guys. 4 A's. You can find me on Twitter, Kuya's Corner, and that's about it. And soon to be in your delivery apps.
San Diego.
So just look out for that. Cultivated Greens. Shout out to those guys. We're a team that also needs a little bit of help. So if you guys can stop by the GoFundMe page and look up Cultivated Greens, donate a little bit.
Nice.
Share it with some people. Help us out in the right direction. That's about it.
Beautiful. Again, I'm going to leave those links for you guys. Thank you so much, Eric, for being on the show. I've honestly a pleasure speaking to you and meeting you virtually.
Likewise.
Hopefully in the future when this is all lifted with COVID, I can come down there and actually experience what you are offering.
Definitely. Oh yeah.
Vegans.
Don't forget. I'm going to actually have you on the show. Christine's going to be on there. We're going to talk about her being what the ins and outs of being a content creator. So don't forget to tune in that.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'll catch you next time.
Definitely. See you later.
Thank you for joining me on The Dang Good Show. Make sure you visit my website, thedangoodshow.com, where you can subscribe to the show on Apple, Google, or Spotify, or wherever it is, just so you'll never miss an episode. While you're at it, if you find valuable information on this show, I would greatly appreciate it if you can give me a thumbs up and a good ratings on iTunes or whichever platform you're listening from. But even if you simply tell a friend about the show, that would totally help me out too. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm C Dang, signing out. I'll catch you next time.